gonna make it. You're not good enough. There's a million other people with the same stuff. You really think you're different? Man, you must be kidding. Think you're gonna hit it, but you just don't get it. It's impossible. It's not probable. You're irresponsible. Too many obstacles. You gotta stop it, yo. You gotta take it slow. You can't be a pro. Don't waste your time no more. Who the are you to tell me what to do? I don't give a you say you disapprove. I'm gonna make my move. I'm gonna make it soon. And I'll do it cause it's what I wanna do. Cause all these opinions and all these positions, they come in millions. They blocking your vision. But no, you can't listen. That shit is all fiction. Cause you hold the power as long as you're driven.
There's no way that you make it. And maybe you can fake it, but you're never gonna make it.
Or will you fight?
Hello and welcome to Game Day from the UK, another Miami Heat UK live pre-game streaming show here tonight to preview the game against the New York Knicks. All-Star break is over. We have our cast back with us. We have Ollie Rahimi and Bilal Monar with us tonight. Ollie, how are you, sir?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you, Dan. Well rested, back looking forward to Heat basketball again.
Absolutely, yes, it feels like forever ago. Bilal Monar, how are you, sir?
I'm good. We back tonight.
We are back, yes, we are back, and we're still in good form, remember. You know, I think we've won about 6 of the last 7, I want to say. So Heat basketball resumes in good form as we look to take back top seed tonight after the Bulls winning. It's normally a bit of a difficult one, this, because we normally reflect on the last game, but we've had over a week since the last game. So reflect on a couple of little bits first before we come on to the Knicks. I'll start with this, Ollie. Big news is Victor Oladipo, Markieff Morris, not playing, but travelling with the squad on a 1-game road trip. This all sounds like the wheels are in motion. The returns are imminent. Heat are almost at full health.
Yeah, I think so. I find it really encouraging that they're both going to New York because, as you said, it's just a 1-game road trip. So, you know, if they were still maybe 2-3 weeks away, it wouldn't really make sense for them to be there. And I know that Oladipo's been sort of on the bench a lot, you know, in his own clothes, like, you know, not taking part and stuff. So it'll be nice.
Jam into Pepas.
Exactly. Yeah. Can't blame him. Yeah. So it'd be good to see that. And I think with those two coming back, obviously Tyler's off the injury list now. Caleb Martin's off the injury list. So we're getting back to full health at the perfect time. We've spoken about it before. We've got a lot of home games to come. So if we can get the squad fully back together, then we'll be looking good for the rest of the season.
Yeah. And obviously there's been a lot of talk about Vic coming back, Bilal, but for the early part of the season, he was sort of the forgotten man. A lot of people were saying, we've still got Vic to come back, But Markieff Morris is a little bit like that, isn't he? We forgot that, you know, in those handful of games, how he started the season before he went out in early November, he was damn good, damn productive for the Heat. So that's another big plus, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And it takes a lot of pressure from PJ Tucker, who's played a lot more than he should have. Also, Markieff, like you said, he played really well. We didn't only use him what the Lakers used him as, like a 3-point shooter, just a stand in the corner kind of guy. We used him as a pick and roll guy. We used him with Tyler Hero to run that second offense, the second unit's offense. So I'm really looking forward for him to come back. And I'm actually glad that we didn't trade for 4 when we know like this guy's available, and he did play well at the start of the season, even though he might not be in like the playoff rotation, maybe as high level minutes, but just for now, just to get us for that 1 seed, I'm more than happy for him to be back.
Yeah, that's it. It's another dog to add to the kennel, as I say. And as I said, he was looking good. I think on a minimum contract, we forgot how good that this guy can be, and he was productive at both ends. He was productive, so I'm really looking forward to seeing Markieff come back strong and healthy as we roll into the playoffs. A long way to go before then, though, Ollie. We've spoke a lot about the players that have really taken their chances this year: Gabe Vincent, Caleb Martin, Max Strus, etc. Is it fair to say, is there anybody that needs to take in recent weeks, maybe not a slump because that's the wrong word, but is there anybody that maybe needs that little bit of a mini leap back? You know, has anybody regressed that you feel like in the last, you know, say 3 to 4 weeks that you think maybe needs, after All-Star break, needed that rest to come back revitalised to hit maybe some of the early form?
Yeah, I think the one out of those 3 that you mentioned for me in that case would probably be Max.
Yeah.
I know Caleb's sort of been in and out of injury and health and stuff, so he's not played an awful lot in the last couple of weeks. So it'll be good to see him back, but he was at a good level before he went down anyway. Yeah, I think Max. I think it's the thing that we've spoken about with him before, and a little bit with Duncan. It's sort of that role that they both play. It's just that level of consistency that they both need. And Duncan, to be fair to him, has shown it a lot more in the recent weeks and months. So I think if we can have that step from Max to a little bit more consistency, then that will really help out the team. I don't know whether he will be part of the rotation come the playoffs. If it is going to be a 9-man rotation, for example, my 4 off the bench would probably be Hero, Oladipo, probably Morris, and then obviously Dedmon. So, and I think then the next person up after that would be Caleb Martin. So I think for Gabe and Max in the next few weeks and months, they'll be playing for a rotation spot, I think. So I think they will both elevate their game. I think Max probably needs to more so than Gabe, though.
Yeah, I agree. That's the name I had, and it's no slant on him because he's been fantastic. But yeah, just maybe a bit quiet. We've seen the Max Strus effect wane off a little bit in the last week or two. Yeah, I agree with you. I think that's the right sort of take. Hopefully, he can improve again and show this mini leap, as we say, because he'll be fighting for playoff minutes. He won't be taking his form that he's played and the initiative he's shown this season to just suddenly be out of rotation when it matters. So he'll be looking to prove himself. Before we come on to the Knicks game, Bilal, one more question. Ollie quickly mentioned him there. Duncan Robinson, we've sort of shown has been feast or famine on many times this season, is either 21 points or his 3 points. But hats off to Greg Sylvander for this one. When Duncan Robinson hits 20 points plus, the Heat are 11-0. So it does show you that when he's hot, the Heat are unbeatable. He's been good recently, hasn't
he? Yeah, he has been good. The game in Charlotte where he literally brought us back to life, that game, and then we ended up winning. I know there's been a lot of talk about him not playing in the fourth quarter, but I do think spot minutes for him are good in the fourth quarter. I know defensively he's not the greatest, but spot minutes just to bring us back in the games. I slightly think he's quite clutch. He does hit big shots when it does matter. He might go 1 of 5 for the first 3 quarters, but then in the fourth he seems to go 3 of 3 or something. So I'm happy with his play recently. And I do think he deserves a bit more fourth quarter minutes.
Yeah, I think so. And it's something that he wasn't getting a look in to start with. And it'll be interesting now that Tyler Hero is back. We'll come on to Tyler in a minute. But yeah, I think now that he's back, it's going to be interesting to see that because he's shown that he can be useful. And we wouldn't have said this at the beginning of the season. In fourth quarter minutes, in clutch moments, he can be put on the floor and told to do a job, which is quite remarkable. Quickly then, as we just mentioned him there, Ollie, Tyler Hero is back. We feel like we haven't seen him in ages. Again, we mentioned about how good the Heat have been. We've been talking about getting back to full health all season, but nothing sort of gives you that springboard more than Tyler Hero, Sixth Man of the Year lock, to suddenly come back in after a well-rested break now.
Yeah, definitely. He's like you said, he is the Sixth Man of the Year. I don't think there's any question about that. He's averaging 20 points. He's the first person to do that off the bench since Lou Williams 4 or 5 years ago. Can't remember how long ago it was now. But yeah, it's rare to have that much production and that much efficiency from your sixth man. I think a lot of players that come off the bench in that sixth man role, they get a decent amount of minutes and they get good production, they get good efficiency, but they're never really the go-to guy. But Tyler is that for Miami, and we've missed him while he's been out. So hopefully him coming back after a nice little rest, revitalized, ready for the playoffs, ready for the second half of the season. Yeah, it should be good. I think it will just elevate the Heat more, especially with how good the Bulls are looking as well. So if we want to go for that 1 seed, then we need to be on top of our game. But
the good thing about Tyler Hero as well is whenever he does have these little niggles where he misses, a handful of games, on his first game back, he's always brilliant. He's always fire. He always starts off on fire. I think like first quarter, he comes in and hits like 12 points straight away. So he shows no transition problems back into it. So I'm excited to see his performance tonight. Let's come on to the Knicks then tonight. The Knicks, man. Last year, revitalized, looking good, became relevant again for the first time in a long time. Finished above the Heat in seedings. I think it was a 5th seed in the end for them. So a great season. It hasn't happened at all for them. Many people predicted that would be the case. And Bilal, they're sort of in no man's land a little bit now, because I think they're about 5.5 games back from 13th place Pacers. So if they want to tank, they've got to do a lot of it. If they still want to get in the play-in, I think they're about 3.5 games back from the play-in. So they got a bit of a decision to make here of what do they do? Do they just try and tank now to the end of the season and boost their odds for a good lottery pick, or do they still believe they can edge their way into the play-in here? What do you do if you're a Knicks fan, Nick, or if you're Tibbs?
Yeah, you're right. That is the worst possible situation, to be right in the middle, not getting into the playoffs, and then not actually being the worst team in the NBA. From Tibbs's historic time in the NBA, I don't see him as the type of guy to actually tank and to actually play for lottery balls. So I do think they will try and rally on and try get into the play-in, and I hope they do, because that will be a delicious first round matchup for us.
Yeah, they'll have to get through into the playoffs first, even if they get in through the play-in, which I wouldn't be putting any money on. But I think that, I think the fan base, I know the UK Knicks page is ready to tank from here on out. He's had enough of this season. What do you think on Tibbs? Because Bilal's right, Ollie is not the sort of coach to give up and to start tanking. He'll keep fighting to the bitter end. Do you feel for him in this circumstance? Do you feel like, this could be the end of the road for his tenure, or do you think they'll continue to stick with it?
You never know with the Knicks, to be honest. I think he deserves better, to be honest. I like him. Obviously he's a coach that's had quite a lot of success in the league over the last decade or so. So he's a good coach, and he's one of the ones that you expect to see at the top end of the standings and stuff. In the same sort of conversation as Spo, who's obviously not as good, but he's a well-respected coach, so I think he deserves better. For what the Knicks will do with him and the roster, I don't know. I think they will probably feel like they have underperformed this year, seeing as where they placed last year, and they do still have some really good pieces on that roster. Like they have good potential, they have good players, but the curse of the Knicks just seems like they can never stick with a player for any longer than 18 months, 2 years, even if they're playing well. Like it doesn't seem that they have any sort of longevity, which I think is what they need. And if you're going to go for longevity, then Tibbs is probably a really good shout to be your guide through that period. So, if I was them, I'd stick with him. I would stick with some of the young talent that they have, because like I said, it is exciting. But yeah, it's just the Knicks, man.
It's a shame in a way, even though we like to slander, we always enjoy taking the mick a little bit out of the Knicks. But they showed that resilience last year. They was a really, really strong defensive team. They're very much in the mid defensively this year. Bilal, their offense has been really poor. I think they're a bottom 5 offensive team. Kemba Walker experiment hasn't worked out. He's now sitting out for the season. We've just heard the news as well that Derrick Rose is going to need another surgery. Randall is, he's had his up and downs with the fans this year. I think he told MSG stuck 2 fingers up at them at some point this year. As I said, it's they haven't had much of a break in that sense, have they, this year on an offensive level?
Yeah, even last year, I don't think they were good offensively, but obviously as time goes on, the NBA evolves. The scouting network actually sees what they're trying to do. So they had a whole year to scout what the Knicks did last year and then stop them this year. And outside of Randall, they don't really have much offensively. They don't really have much at all. Like you said, the Kemba Walker experiment didn't work, which I thought it could have worked, but not in a starting role. I would have thought, coming to this point of Kemba Walker's career, I thought he would have came off the bench. But then again, who does he come off the bench for? Because there's no real point guard there. And then you have the whole Cam Reddish situation where he got traded there, and Tibbs has said that he didn't want him. So there's maybe a disconnect with the front office and Tibbs. So yeah, they're in a really bad situation. We would hate to be the Knicks.
They are in a bad situation. It's always the same sort of thing, because when they can't get that elevation going consistently, they always talk about maybe, they need that star, that one to take over that city. And it is an attractive proposition to be the king of New York and to move that franchise forward. But that requires a Donovan Mitchell or a Dame Lillard or someone of that ilk to take it to the next level. And the bottom line is they're not going to get that player because they haven't got the capital to be able to go and get that player. They've got nobody that's going to be attractive on a trade proposition to go and get that player. I'm not sure what their pick situation is. I know they've got cap space, but they need that star. And I don't know. They seem to be just stuck in the mud all the time. Ollie, to keep them quiet tonight, never an easy place to go. Let's have it right. MSG, the most famous sports centre, sports arena in the world. Once the fans get going there, if you can get hot, if they can show momentum, that's a really difficult place to keep quiet. Could Miami's biggest threat tonight be the arena, the fans?
I think so. Yeah, I'd like to think that the Heat have enough about them and enough experience to be able to handle that. With they've got players like Kyle Lowry, PJ Tucker, Jimmy Butler. These guys they've been around, they've seen it, they've done it. So I'd like to think they have enough experience in that team to be able to navigate through that. I've got a feeling. I know you mentioned it earlier with Tyler coming back. This is his first game in a little while. Usually goes off a little bit. I'm feeling a big game for him because he is one that he loves the spotlight. He's complete opposite of Jimmy Bam. He is very, he wants to be out there. He loves that attention, and I think for him playing in MSG, the chance to shut the crowd down, almost similar to how Trae Young did it for Atlanta. I think that he could have that sort of impact. Hopefully he will. And if he can make himself an enemy of the New York crowd by playing that well, I think he would love that. So yeah, I'm excited to see it. But like I said, I think there's enough experience within that team to be able to handle it, manage it. They've been there before. But maybe for some of the younger guys, maybe some of the undrafted guys, if they're going to get some minutes, for them to experience it, fully. If the crowd is jumping as it is sometimes, then yeah, it'll be interesting to see. But I'm hoping for a big night from Tyler.
I hope so.
Just to add to that point, we are on national TV tonight, so it is on ESPN. And I'm sure I've heard "Let's Go Heat" fan a chance at MSG before, so I'm not worried.
Oh yeah,
we hear "Let's Go Heat" chants at every arena.
Even in the UK.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Bilal, Ollie's just said there, Tyler Herro's the one to watch tonight. I think I was either reading one of Brady's articles or watching one of his breakdowns, or it might have been on the pod. But Brady Hawk was mentioning that this is like a Jimmy Butler dream game tonight, because they got no real shooters, nothing that's really going to threat massively from outside the arc, which means they've got to try and go through the paint, and that's Jimmy all over. He's going to eat that up. So Jimmy should be a key to victory tonight. Should have a big game. Yeah,
I was literally just about to say it's going to be a Jimmy Butler game, I think. Well, he always has one against Tibbs for benching him that first year. He always gets up when he plays against Tibbs. And MSG, national TV, and like you said, there's no real wing defenders to actually guard Jimmy on the Knicks. I don't see them causing a bit of a problem. Their interior defense as well. I'm not sure, is Nerlens Noel playing tonight?
I'm not sure. I haven't actually seen the Knicks team report, other than the fact that I know that Rose is now out because of surgery. I haven't actually seen anything else. So,
but yeah, so the Knicks wouldn't trouble the team like Jimmy Butler more than other teams. So I feel like this is an actual game for him, and I think he'll go off tonight.
Yep, I think so. The Heat are -6 on the spread again. That seems very good value. I'll be taking that if I'm a betting man, which I am. Probably put that in the accumulator tonight. Heat at -6. Let's go and get some predictions. Heat are on fire at the moment. As I said, All-Star break, rested, fully healthy, pretty much. 6 wins in the last 7, playing a 2-8 in the last 10 at New York Knicks. Ollie, what do you think at MSG tonight?
I think it'll be a Heat win. I'd say maybe by sort of 12 to 15. And I think Tyler's going to have his night from 3. I think he's going to hit 5-6 threes tonight.
Oh, like it. Okay. Bilal, what do you think?
Yeah, I was going to say Heat by 15 tonight. We're going to pull away in the 4th.
Okay, well, to make it easy then, the squad have gone with Heat by 15 tonight. So get it in your accumulators. Heat are -6 on the spread. Keep that arena quiet. This could be a big win. As I said, quick one tonight. We won't be streaming tomorrow. We've got the Spurs tomorrow, but I'm unavailable, unfortunately. So we'll catch up next week for this brutal 4 games in 6 days against the Bulls, Bucks, Nets and Sixers. There's a test for a week. We'll come on to it all next week, though. Loads of content to come. But follow us at the Miami Heat UK for the live in-game comms tonight. 12:30 for the tip-off tonight. As I said, won't be around for tomorrow's game, but we'll catch up next week. Let's go Heat. Let's get this win. Take it easy, guys.